Okay. I'm excited to do this. I wanted to start a new segment called Thoughts, where, I talk about some things going on, some projects I'm working on, some of my travels. And there's a subject that is fairly relevant because I hit my year anniversary of being out of the Marine Corps next week. And also, I've been working on a short film series about veterans and about veteran transition, leaving active duty. That series I'm proud of. It's probably the best thing that I've ever made. It's not going to win any massive awards or anything, but I am proud of it, and I'm proud of the messages. And I think the messages are impactful. I submitted it to film festivals, so it might be a few months, 3, 4, 5 months until I'm able to share it with the public. So I wanted to make this to kind of bookmark that project. I'm sure I'll talk about it one other time when I'm about to release that series. I don't think that this channel or things I talk about a lot are going to be necessarily related to veterans and being in the military. I think I served around 4.5 years active duty. I don't think I'm the best person necessarily to talk about that. But that being said, this is my experience. And so it's relevant to me. And I do think that I have some sort of a perspective to offer to other people, especially because I've been doing the project that I've been doing. So a little bit of background. I joined the military after college. I decided to join the Marine Corps because honestly, I had a better experience with those recruiters. I had done Army ROTC for about a year, decided not to contract, and then joined after college. For me, joining as an officer was a good thing. I mean, certainly in some aspects, it's a better lifestyle, I think. And for me, it definitely fit. I was a little bit older at the time. I think I was 24, 25, and just with my life experience. So I joined as an officer. I went to Officer Candidate School in DC, logistics officer course, the basic school in DC, and then I got selected as a logistics officer, and I went to North Carolina. And that first year and a half, I will say that I was pretty gung ho, pretty moto. A lot of the things we were doing, other than maybe OCS wasn't exactly what I expected. But after that, a lot of the things we were doing is what I expected somewhat when I joined the military. And I was pretty into it. And then I got selected as a logistics officer. That wasn't my top choice necessarily, but I got assigned to 2nd Battalion, 4th Marines in Camp Pendleton in California. So I went there after logistics officer course, and I was there for about 3 years or so. Deployed on a MEU, and it was a weird time because it was during COVID and all these things. But anyways, I did that thing, served my time, and I ended up getting out. I actually got to do SkillBridge, which is like a military transition program where I interned as a civilian towards the end of my contract because I wasn't going to make the next deployment. And that definitely helped me personally, and it can help with transition. That being said, getting out of the military is not easy. It wasn't easy for me, and I don't think it's easy for anybody. I didn't expect it to be necessarily as hard as it was. So a few thoughts on that. One, I didn't prepare as well as I could have. I did the SkillBridge, and that, I guess that whole company I was working with, it didn't work out exactly like I would have expected. So I was like, okay, I'm going to I'm going to jump on this opportunity of freedom. I'm going to travel. I went to Hawaii, then Central and South America, which I loved every minute of it. I would always, really recommend traveling. My shortcoming is I didn't think through what was next. I was kind of just living in the moment, taking photos, hoping that some sort of photography opportunities would come along. Also, my lease in California had ended, so I got back, and I very much so was met with that realization of no community, a lack of a purpose. What am I supposed to do? I, for the first time, felt fairly alone. I'm a single guy. I've been kind of doing my own thing for over the last decade. So I did feel alone, and I didn't know what to do professionally, where to live. And I think just that whole culmination of meeting that when you get out of the military can be really hard. And with me, and it sounds very stereotypical, but I mentally, although no one would have known this, but mentally, I definitely started to spiral in some ways. And I had depression and suicide ideation and all kinds of weird things that are uncomfortable for me to talk about, but super common. I mean, I've talked to a lot of veterans with this project, 6 in particular, who are amazing examples of just human beings and trying to pursue unique, cool things outside the military. And I think everyone experiences this kind of thing, even your stereotypical tough, ultra masculine ex-special forces person. So I guess a few thoughts are: 1, when you get out, it's going to be difficult. Just expect that. When you feel feelings of depression, suicide ideation, loneliness, you're not alone. Everybody goes through that. A few things in my hindsight that you can do to combat that. I think for me, the biggest thing was doing the little things. So if that makes sense. So working out every day. That's an easy thing to let slide. Don't let that slide. Trying to pursue a work that, 1, you do have to pay the bills, but then also that you believe in, that gives you some sort of a purpose. Finding a community, whether that's in a jiu-jitsu gym or a normal gym, or, if you start rock climbing, or, some sort of a local city club. Taking care of your health, your diet, not drinking, getting rid of addiction. For me, I actually quit nicotine. I didn't have a long stint with nicotine, but I did pick up that terrible habit while I was in the Marine Corps to allow me to work ridiculous hours while deployed, etc. I quit that when I got out and when I started working on this film series, and that was hard. I think, that just takes your mind through a loop, and I went up through that completely on my own. So that was hard, but I'm a lot happier since I quit. If I could have quit while I was in, that would have been that much better. And then, this is pretty surface level, but just doing the little things and then finding a way to move on. There was a thing that one of the guys that I interviewed for my project, named Rob Alexander, he's a fishing captain in South Carolina, and he said, a man who has lived many lives has lived a good life. So a man who's lived many lives has lived a good life. And I think when you do join the military, you're able to do that. You have different chapters in life. Say you join right out of high school. You have your growing up period. You have your high school period when you're maybe coming of age. You join the military. You do 4, 6, 8, 12 years, however long in the military. And then when you get out, it's time to start looking for that next chapter, what that next thing is that you're going to pursue, what that next passion is. And it's important to close that chapter, I think, of the military, to find seek help through therapy and through doing the little things to heal from that. But I find that a lot of veterans, they get stuck in that military life and they try to keep reliving that life. And I don't think that necessarily helps. And it probably sounds hypocritical making this video, but for me, this is really, this project has been closing this chapter, and I already know what I want to do for my next film project, and it's not related to veterans. And although being a veteran is going to always be a part of my life, I hope that it's not what I lead with for the rest of my life. So I guess those are just a few of my thoughts of getting out of the military. I think that every day, I've been rambling for about 10 minutes. I think every day can be a tough thing. It can be a tough day, and you're not alone when you feel that. And I felt that, and I think anyone who gets out of the military will. So focus on the little things, and step by step, I think every day for me has gotten better, and every day for you will get better as long as you're moving forward. You're either moving forward or backwards. So try to use that forward momentum. And I'm excited to share this project. It's called After the Uniform, whenever I'm able to share that. These 6 veterans that I highlight. So I highlight one who lives in Pennsylvania. He's an ex-Army Ranger. One Marine who I actually served with, he lives in Atlanta, Azan. And then a guy who has a fishing charter, a guy Cole, who owns a coffee shop. Sophie, she was a combat commander during the withdrawal from Afghanistan. That's a really interesting episode. I made that episode number 2, actually. And then the last guy, just like really a raw conversation about his experience. He had a few combat deployments. He was a corpsman in the Navy, attached to a Marine Corps unit, and he's now studying to make music. So anyways, a wide variety of people, I think, that can relate to anyone. They do a lot better job talking about veteran transition than I did right here. I don't expect that this conversation changed your life, but I think it's a conversation that's important to have. I don't think that it's had enough, and hopefully we can come together as a community, move forward, close that chapter through healing, and then do cool things and pursue cool things and passions. So if you want to reach out to me, great. If you want resources, ask me, and I'll share what I can. And I guess this is the first little snippet of thoughts here on YouTube where I ramble about what's going on in my mind. So thanks.